Welcome to the Boomer Briefing Podcast, where we help you solve a critical business issue in 20 minutes or less. Hi, I'm Amanda Wilkie, a consultant here at BoomerConsulting, and with me today is Arianna Campbell, who is a shareholder and the COO here at BoomerConsulting. Thank you for joining me, Arianna.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So today we're going to discuss some of the process trends that we have identified in 2023. Arianna, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so one of the first process trends that we really saw happening within firms is process metrics as part of overall firm KPIs. So when we think about process improvement and really process effectiveness, we need to make sure that it's actually staying top of mind within the firm. And one of the best ways to do that is to make sure that those process metrics and the way that we are actually measuring the success of our process improvement initiatives really becomes part of the overall firm KPIs, because we know that the saying goes, what gets measured is actually what gets managed. And so we want to make sure that while we're looking at the overall firm, that we're looking at process too, because that's going to help us keep the pulse of how we're doing. It'll also help us to understand where we need to focus on continuous improvement. I would say that one of the challenges in the areas where firms have some opportunity is to have a good tracking mechanism for those process metrics, and to have a place where they can be pulled into one place in order to be able to have access to kind of that all-in-one view.
Yeah, I would say now that firms are really focused on process KPIs, the challenge is how do you actually gather those and make those available to everyone in the firm. So definitely some opportunity in those areas.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the second trend in process that we have been keeping an eye on is really the empowerment and the expansion of cross-functional teams. Now, the accounting profession has been changing quite a bit the last few years, and we've seen a change from the hierarchy where projects and initiatives really flow from the top down to really creating a cross-functional team. Now, that cross-functional team is a mix of all different levels. It's a mix of people new to the firm, people who are more established or have more experience at the firm and in the profession as well. And we've really seen cross-functional teams take off, not just in the area of process, but throughout the firm. So when you have projects looking for new service lines or looking at new technology, but especially looking at process and process improvement, it's been extremely successful when you have that cross-functional team. And I think more and more firms are starting to realize the benefit of bringing those different people together and really building off the collective knowledge and the collective experience and the collective improvement ideas. I think one of the key words, though, there, Arianna, is really empower. So firms truly have to empower that team, giving them the authority to really make change and drive change and support the change within the organization. So I think that's definitely something that we will continue to see firms focus on.
And I think that we really see that it not only helps to provide a different perspective and a much needed perspective when it comes to, for instance, a process improvement project, but it also really helps your people to get more engaged. So when we think about kind of the interaction and the overlap between process and people, this is one of those areas where you can really start to elevate people within the firm simply by inviting them to have a seat at that table and be part of that cross-functional team. And the more that we can do that, as Amanda mentioned, not having it be the top-down approach, I think that really helps to get people engaged, and that's what we want with our talent. We want them to be engaged and contributing and really feel like they are a part of what's happening. So the third trend that we are seeing is moving from the idea of focusing on effort to really focusing on productivity and value. So So we don't just want to think about the effort or the hours that we're putting in. We truly want to evaluate within that time that we're spending, what are we actually accomplishing and what are we getting done? And even more importantly, are the things that we're doing actually adding value to the client, to the internal team, to the organization as a whole? We really want to question, those different steps within our processes, the different things that we're doing in order to move things forward. Is it really achieving that right goal of focusing on, again, what is it that we're actually completing and getting done? And are the things that we're doing actually adding value? And sometimes those can be tough questions to ask, especially if we've maybe been doing things the same way for a certain number of time. Maybe there are people who are specifically invested into different processes or steps, but you can really find a lot of opportunity for improvement, not only to your processes, but overall by really challenging yourself. Because when you think about it, what you want to see is at the end of any deliverable, the end of any project, or just on the day-to-day, is really that focus on delivering value at all levels and at all the steps along the way.
Yeah, I think this one really impacts your people as well, because at the end of the day, we all want to feel like we did something meaningful. We added value to a client, we added value to the firm, we added value just, as an individual. So focusing on the productivity and the value, focusing on productivity and value over effort is another great way to make your people feel like they are really contributing to the firm and to the clients as well. Number 4 is one that's near and dear to both of our hearts, Arianna. It's process plus project management plus change leadership. And combining those things really lead to exponential growth. And we're starting to see organizations really focus on all 3. And I know, Arianna, you and I have really focused on process improvement and process management, helping firms with that. But we have really evolved out of that, and firms are evolving out of that. So we're really looking more at project management as well. So how do you execute a project, whether that project is an engagement or if it's an internal project. But then there's the people side of the process changes and process improvement, the people side of project management. And that's really where change and change leadership comes in, and focusing on that. So it's very important to bring all 3 of these things together, your process management, your project management, and your change leadership as well. That's really going to help the firm really grow and bring everyone and make sure they're engaged as well.
Agree. And as we're looking at places where we will continue to see firms focus as we move into 2024, we really do see the change leadership as being a key area of focus. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, it goes back to the people and how the change is really going to impact your people. Speaking of people, our 5th trend that we kept an eye on this year was really a mindset shift around resource management. We've heard countless firms struggle with scheduling year after year after year. And I think one of the reasons they continue to struggle with it is because they looked at it simply as scheduling. Again, going back to the effort. Do we have enough people to cover enough hours to get the work done? But now we're really looking more at resource management. So making sure that you have the right skill sets, the right people in the right places at the right time, doing the right things. And not just looking at people, but considering things like your technology and your process as part of your resources. So I think as we head into 2024, we'll continue to see a focus on this because of some of the technology and automation and AI tools that are out there. That's going to impact your people. It's going to impact your processes. So you're going to need to look at how that impacts your resources and resource management overall.
I would agree with that. I think that this is another opportunity to really keep your people engaged because you're focusing on how you can really grow and develop them, as opposed to just looking at different ways to address the schedule. So those were our process trends for 2023. We're excited to see how they continue to evolve in 2024. And thanks so much for joining us today. Listeners, if you enjoyed this topic, look out for new episodes every Tuesday morning. We like to rotate between different topics and themes, but the common theme among all of our episodes is that we believe they are critical to your firm's growth and success. So please subscribe, and thanks for listening.